Hello, and I hope you're having a good day. There are three kinds of people in this world. People who study so damn hard that the power of their mind pulls them to greater heights. People who are willing to sell out for a taste of power. And those who are just #built different and born with amazing talents. Out of all the classes of Dungeons & Dragons, none are as #built different as the Sorcerer. Sorcerers are beings who, in one way or another, have raw magic pulsating through their bodies and souls. They are walking, breathing focal points for the Great Weave. And this inborn magical connection takes on many forms in the subclasses known as Sorceress Origins, which I'll get to in a moment. All sorcerers, regardless of their origins, can manipulate their own magical power as if it were a part of their body. This is seen in their primary ability, Metamagic. Metamagic runs off of a resource called sorcery points, and spending these points lets you do all kinds of things, from keeping your fireballs from hurting your allies, to spell sniping, to casting a second spell immediately after the first. It's a nice mix-up from the warlocks that blow their load in just a few spell slots, or the super slow burn teases that are wizards. The number of metamagic abilities and sorcery points you get increases as you level up, and by level 20, you can spend 4 sorcery points to restore a spent spell slot. This is pretty much the only major feature of the Sorcerer, but it's pretty much all they need. Also, the Sorcerer is the only spellcaster proficient in Constitution saving throws, making concentration spells much more viable. This may not seem like much, but to anyone who's had their concentration broken in a pivotal moment, knows it is. Moving on to the real reason you clicked on this video, the subclasses, aka Sorceress Origins. Every sorcerer's magic has a source, and that source impacts the kind of sorcerer they become. The first is Draconic bloodline. One way or another, your sorcerer has dragon blood in their veins. Maybe it was the result of a magical experiment of injecting dragon blood into human beings, or maybe it was more traditional methods that brought you about into the world. At level 1, you decide what dragon was in your great-great-grandmother's Google search history, from red to silver to gold, and the color or metal you pick dictates the type of element that you'll be connected with. Red for fire, silver for cold, etc., etc. You then grow scales that grant you natural armor of 13 plus dex, increase power to spells that match your draconic element, resistance to those same damage types at the cost of 1 sorcery point, and at higher levels you grow wings that let you fly or hover. You also gain the ability to strike awe or fear into the hearts of your enemies by straight up stealing the OG's Draconic Presence trait. The Draconic bloodline is meh. I'm personally not a fan of it, but I can see why lots of people are. Okay, so remember how I said a sorcerer's magic was like a muscle or a part of their body? Well, wild magic sorcerers have constant muscle spasms. Now, if your arm spasms, you might just look a bit weird, but when your magic spasms, someone's getting turned into a potted plant. At level 1, the DM can have you roll a d20 after any sorcerer spell of first level or higher. If you roll a 1, the magic goes wild, and then you get to run on to the handy-dandy wild magic table. Any number of things can happen, from fireballs exploding in your face, to all your hair falling out, to not being able to speak unless your head's underwater, and yes, being turned into a potted plant. You also gain the ability to give yourself advantage on 1 attack roll, ability check, or saving throw per long rest, as you are natural at riding the winds of chaos. At higher levels, you can spend sorcery points to add 1d4 to any roll of any creature. You roll twice as much on your Magic Wild Surge table when it happens. And at level 18, you can pick 1 damage dice for any spell attack and give it a second roll. Both rolls adding in to your damage total. Oh my Tiamat, I love this subclass. Just look up Wild Magic Table and see not only the OG crazy, but all the fan-made crazy that's out there. I love the concept of magic going bonkers so much that in my Feywild campaign, I made certain parts of the realm of fairies have an environmental effect similar to wild magic that affected all spellcasters. That said, this subclass puts your fate in the hands of the dice, with no safety bars, and if that's your thing, rock on, and if not, maybe find another way to spend your sorcery points. How about the Divine Soul, a mage whose inner power is from a divine spark? As God's favorite little man, you get divine protection by adding 2d4 to saving throws or missed attacks. You can replace sorcerer spells with cleric spells because, of course, the church is totally okay with you sharing secrets. You can cast healing spells and make them even more powerful. You get a pair of wings that let you fly about for 30 feet, and the ability to just nope out of death and come back with half your HP restored, resplendent in rays of gold, or black, or whatever your favorite color is. This is what happens when a sorcerer copies the cleric's homework, but hear me out. Metamagic on cleric spells. Yeah, you got that a lot sooner than I did, didn't you? You know what I'm about. From light to dark, it's shadow sorcerers. These edgy lads and lasses have been touched by the edgiest of planes, the Shadowfell, and now they've got shadow magic. How is it different from normal magic? In practice, not at all. However, it does give you some neat abilities. You can see in the dark up to 120 feet away, you get the darkness spell for free, the ability to make charisma saves against being dropped to 0 and instead dropping only to 1. Oh my god. You can teleport through shadows up to 120 feet like a ninja, and you get the ultimate edgelord power, the umbral form. Spending 6 sorcery points to turn into a spooky shadow monster, giving you resistance to all damage except radiant, moving through creatures and objects like a ghost at the cost of force damage if you end your turn in an occupied space. Finally, the best part happens at level 6, when you get a spooky good boy with its own action, initiative, and HP pool. Oh, did I mention your spooky good boy can also go through walls and other people? And did I also mention it only costs 3 sorcery points? Now, the downside to this subclass is that the Shadow Hound, being this class's coolest feature, is also its limiting factor. The Hound can only attack one target at a time, and it must always be moving towards said target, which is scary, but not very practical if you're more of a strategist. But that's just a personal nitpick. Now, go to Hot Topic. Embrace how the world just doesn't get you and become a shadow sorcerer. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a storm sorcerer. We should go inside. These guys are the true spell shellers of this class, having been imbibed with storm magic. You can speak primordial, create gusts of wind to fly up to 10 feet without provoking opportunity attacks. You gain resistance to lightning and thunder damage, later becoming immunity to both types down the line. You can explode with power whenever you cast a spell of lightning and thunder damage, dealing extra lightning and thunder damage to whatever was within 10 feet of you. You can control the weather in a 20-foot sphere. You can deal lightning damage to anybody that tries to hurt you, while pushing them up to 20 feet away in the process. And at level 18, you get a flying speed of 60 that you can gift to a number of other creatures up to 3 plus your charisma modifier for 1 action. The flying speed is reduced to 30 feet for all parties involved, but who cares? A free flying squad of overpowered ne'er-do-wells? My last sorcerer was a storm boy, and I can guarantee you will enjoy this class. Sign me the fuck up. The Aberrant Mind is a sorcerer who read too much H.P. Lovecraft and now has psionic powers, and possibly a cat with a problematic name. But your new alien powers give you additional spells, the ability to telepathically communicate a distance up to your charisma modifier in miles. You can spend SPs instead of spell slots to cast spells, provided the number of sorcery points equals the spell's level, and doing so means you don't have to spend material components, semantics, or verbal components. You can just look at someone and boom, fireball. Later on, you get the ability to teleport up to 30 feet, leaving behind a magical black hole that sucks enemies in and deals damage. You get resistance to psychic damage and advantage against being charmed or frightened. But the really cool part is being able to spend 6 sorcery points to alter your body into horrible, disgusting things that give you extra powers, like making yourself all slimy so you can slip through cracks like an octopus, or giving yourself weird eyes to see the invisible, or maybe you just grow gills so you can breathe underwater. Gross. This is all cool, but I feel like this class doesn't go all the way with the cosmic horror vibe. I don't know, I guess I was expecting more puking up tentacles, or growing eyes in the back of your head. I don't know, something. The Clockwork Sorcerer is a mage that builds clocks on the side and is now touched by Mechanus, the realm of absolute order. You embody the law of averages, and this is reflected in your spells and abilities. You can stop creatures from rolling with advantage or disadvantage a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You can create a magic ward around you and others. You can go full clock mode and prevent all attacks against you from gaining advantage. And all attacks you make, as well as your checks and saves, are automatically 10s. You cannot roll lower than a 10 when you pick this subclass. And finally, the Spirits of Order impose their will on the world around you through you. You summon a 30-foot cube that lets you heal up to 100 HP divided as you want. All damages are repaired within the cube, and every spell 6th level or lower ends on creatures and objects of your choice. This sorcerer is about battlefield control, dictating in some small way when the dice will or will not be in your favor. I love the idea of a sorcerer's magic being tied to outer planes of existence, and I hope we get a subclass for every plane, honestly. Well, that's all I have for you. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, leave a like, and share the video. It would really help me out a lot. Leave a comment down below. It may become a future video topic. Also, check out my Discord, where we share D&D memes, game ideas, experiences, stories, and just have a good time. But I have to go now. I can feel the power awakening within me. And don't forget to have fun on your next adventure.